Well, greetings and salutations, one and all. Back again as the Super Review Show's career retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. How you guys doing?
Long time no see.
Here we go. Brand new day, brand new review.
Round two, baby. Round two of the Super Review Show's career retrospectives being uploaded later today to podcast format, mind you, too. Here we are today talking about Alice Cooper's new album, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. So back in, as I pull up my facts here, July 25th, 2025, Alice Cooper put out a new record called The Revenge of Alice Cooper. And this Mike was the first one to really tell me about it, too. Mike, why don't you dive into your stuff, your knowledge of Alice Cooper, and share your thoughts of the artist as well. What do you got, bud?
Well, I have very little knowledge of Alice Cooper, and I feel that is kind of a disservice to myself because I feel his presence in the music industry, his iconic status of being one of the original shock rockers, being aligned with a lot of the metal world of just doing things that make a wave in people's perception of the horror kind of styling of a artist. Got a lot of people talking. You know, he's been listed by many as a musical kind of influence on their sound, and he's been hard to define through the years. So, yeah, like other than that, I know the hits he's done. If School's Out, Bed of Nails, Frankenstein, what do you call it? He's just had a bunch of different good songs, but I never really listened to an album. I've never really fully immersed myself in what his style like gravitates towards and what it is. So it was interesting to kind of hear what's to be the comeback album, where a lot of the original band members got back together and it was everything kind of brought back and nostalgically I would say engineered to be more of a true return to form Alice Cooper album. So it was definitely a unique experience for me in that I don't have the experience to judge it against. It's kind of similar with Good Charlotte. So I'm glad we get to do these kinds of reviews. So yeah, that's my general take on it.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, you like Alice Cooper? You don't like him? What do you got?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as Mike, to be completely honest with you. I like the hits from Alice Cooper. I respect the hell out of him as a showman. He's a great performer. His stage shows are always great. He's theatrical. So many of the artists that I listen to, he's an influence on. Full album wise, never really was able to get too into him. This being, and Mike kind of touched on this, like the first, Alice Cooper has been doing albums forever, but I mean, it's really Alice Cooper, the band, and then his solo albums. This is the first album with the Alice Cooper band since 1973. So it was like the big return. And it shows in this album versus, what he was doing sound wise before this in the past decade or two. Mm-hmm. So, going into it, wasn't really sure what to expect and got kind of a mixed result from it.
Yeah, and my enjoyment of Alice Cooper has always been, I'm actually, believe it or not, we're on the same exact page here, gentlemen. I've always enjoyed his hits. I've always enjoyed like School's Out, Frankenstein, as you guys mentioned, but I've never ever listened to a full album by his, only because he's just never been an album guy for me. I know his hits, and that's all I'm comfortable with. That's all I really know about. That's all I really want to get to know with him by. So knowing that he just put out a new album called The Revenge of Alice Cooper earlier this year, and it was something unique for sure. I'm not sure how else to explain it, but when we get into our track listing, we'll get into a little bit there. But that's outside of his 70s and early 80s hits, I never saw him live. I like to at some point. Maybe we'll have to see, of course. But I don't know. I respect him. I 1000% respect him. I just could never get into him as like a whole artist or with a certain album. Oh, this album's great. That album's great. I just never couldn't get into that. So it's always interesting to hear people discuss different takes of him. So it's always interesting. So let's jump over to the track listing for a second here, and we can do our standout tracks and our positives and negatives and stuff like that too. Mike, I mean, you told us about this. You kind of gave a little bit of a background on Alice Cooper. What do you got, bud, for this album?
Well, it's interesting. I can divide this album up into pieces of stuff that I feel fits more with my expectation of a song, more solid delivery, solid direction, solid construction, and how it plays out. And it reminds me of some of the classic uh, Alice Cooper songs. And then there's other songs on this album that are more theatrical, more comical, more wouldn't say cringy, but like awkward on purpose
I
to
would.
kind of I mean, yeah, you this day I define the word cringy as something done not intentionally that's cringy, whereas you intentionally want to be cringy. It's almost like a reverse effect. It's like, okay, it's done on purpose to be cringy, aka Kill the Flies, or like some of these other ones, like obviously Black Mamba has some weird stuff going on, and it's a theatrical kind of thing. So yeah, there's a couple different little pieces of this album. My uh preference kind of fits in with songs like my standout tracks on this one, Up All Night, definitely cringy lyrics, funny lyrics, but I really like that. I like Wild Ones. I like the straightforward delivery on that, the catchiness to it. The song is easy to recognize, easy to remember. As well as I did like Blood on the Sun, little too long, but it has a good like kind of epic build feel with it. So those are like my standout tracks. And then you have some kinds of stuff on here that feels like misfits with like the Ramones and a couple other kind of like those kooky kind of like late 70s, early 80s alt rock kind of songs, in the realm of some of the famous Face Money Screams uh area. So those ones, like, they're okay. They're not really my cup of tea, but I like the nostalgic feel to them, the authentic sound to them. Like, they really feel like songs that were made back in like the 70s or early 80s feel to them. And then at the bottom of this album, it feels like a lot of rockabilly kind of music that I appreciate, but is not my cup of tea. So in the specifics, I Ain't Done You Wrong, What Happened to You, Intergalactic Vagabond Blues. They're very, probably preferable to certain elements of his career that fans liked. But I felt more aligned with like the early on part of this album than I did like at the end. So it was kind of a little bit of a roller coaster in things that I liked, things I didn't like. But those are my standout tracks for I'm just gonna give you the ones I didn't like too, all in one shot. So obviously I said Up All Night, Wild Ones. Black Mamba was cool, but it just didn't go anywhere that I wanted it to. It has a good groove to it, as well as Blood on the Sun. Were my standout, and my least favorite was like that Money Screams, a famous face. It just wasn't, and those like kind of like last tracks. They're not like terrible, but they're just not what I like.
Well, Mike, good news. The universe is still in a line, because me and you are polar opposites on this one. Could not be further opposites on this one. This is such a strange album to me.
Yeah.
Because I agree. This could be like 3 different groupings of songs here. It's so strange for me to have an album that is like a slow burn where I really didn't like the beginning, and then it got okay. These are decent. And then it was just a grouping of songs that I quite enjoyed. And, nothing groundbreaking, there's nothing on here that I would say is like a 9 or 10 out of 10. Like, there's nothing like super groundbreaking, super great here. But like, I did not like for the whole stretch of songs from Black Mamba to One Night Stand. Didn't really take anything out of it. I mean, like Wild Ones was okay. One Night Stand was all right. Black Mamba, I'm just not really into like those talking vocals he was doing. I get he's doing the storytelling thing. It just wasn't like really captivating to me. Up All Night though, Mike. We're gonna have some problems on this one. I would say this one's cringy because this is the one song where I couldn't necessarily tell if he was trying to be cringy or not. I agree on Kill the Flies. I think that's a terrible chorus. It comes off as old man ranting about flies. But I could tell that's what he was going for. Up All Night sounds like a song that Buck Cherry will be putting out in 20 years. It would be a better song if his vocals on it didn't sound so much like the old man that he is at this point. It is just such like dirty old man song that I was like, oh, it felt so weird listening to it, and not in like a good way. But after that, after those songs, when you get to, I agree, Mike, when you get to Blood on the Sun, that's a good song. I agree, it is definitely on the long side. But this is probably musically the most interesting song on here. Probably the only one that actually goes through, multiple sections and movements. It has a cool structure to it. And then after that, it just keeps getting better. Famous Face, I really like that one. I know Mike's not a fan. I just really like that gritty, chunky guitar riff they have on there. The guitar lick in the intro that kind of comes back at a couple times throughout the song is really good. It's one of the best choruses on the album, I thought. Enjoyable song, not the best song in the world. And then Money Screams, probably my favorite on the album. This one it's just a fun song. It has like almost like a 50s like doo-wop style to it, interestingly enough. And it works. I really like does these like accent pauses and like the leading out of the chorus that I think works really well. And then it just kind of continues from there. The next couple tracks, both of which having like this old-fashioned influence on them. One of them, What a Sid, whatever, drawing from blues. Actually has my favorite guitar solo on the album too. It's just such a cool bluesy solo. I love a good blues solo. And just the way it leads the song out works so well. And then Intergalactic Vagabond Blues just kind of continues that blues stylings, but incorporating more of a rock sound to it. I'm a sucker for that style. It's a fun song. It's nothing groundbreaking. Lyrics are a bit strange, but it's a fun time. Album again dips after that though. What Happened to You is fine. Just kind of standard repetitive rock track. Nothing to write home about. I Ain't Done Wrong. Not good. I did not like this song. This one's going for like this weird, like really old outlaw country style almost. That just not my cup of tea. It's just very strange. And See You on the Other Side had potential. Lyrically, I enjoy the song. I like the meaning of it a lot. In practice, it's on the repetitive side and stays rather boring throughout. Could have had more of like a sincere sound to it. But yeah, I mean, this is like a roller coaster of a very strange roller coaster of an album. Like to me, it started so low.
It's a roller coaster, and Alice Cooper is the carny. Alice Cooper's the carny who's controlling the roller coaster, and you're like, "Who's controlling this thing?" And you look down, and he's looking at. He's like, "You're going back on it," and then he switches.
Yeah, and apparently it's some perverted old dirty man singing Up All Night. Worst Alice Cooper song I've ever heard. Just throwing that one out there. Did not like that one, but yeah, that's where I stand on it. It was a very interesting experience.
Well, I guess it comes down to me. I'm in the middle of both of you, but I mean, like I said, I've never listened to Alice Cooper album. I only knew the hits. I appreciate him at least bringing some of his band members back from the previous, like from the 70s and 80s, into this album. It's for me, it's a very you both just Kyle described it as like going up a mountain a little bit and then falling off a little bit towards the end there. Like you go up, and then it goes down. Mike said there's a lot of like hit and miss, a lot of hit and miss here. I'm more aligned with. I hate to. This just happens a lot on this show. I'm in the middle of both of you. Let's just put it that way. I'm just in the middle of both of you with this. Nothing against. I will agree to Kyle's point that the first three songs were the first singles that got released. Those are very not good. For more forgettable than not good. If you can't remember something, then why bother? You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm just gonna try and like say this as thoroughly as I can. Lyrically, it's really cringe fest with Alice Cooper. It's very much, like, am I expecting like lyrical geniuses, like a super lyrical, like iconicness? No, I mean it's Alice Cooper. He's known for great music and whatnot, no matter what. But just lyrically speaking, it really is like, God, you both can't deny the head there. He's kind of like being an old perverted man at this point, like get off my lawn kind of thing, that kind of mantra with this album, like with titles like What a Sid and I'll See on the Other Side, like I don't know, or What Happened to You. Like these are just songs that are just scream like I'm an old man and I'm going to try something that sounds like a younger person doing it, but it just didn't work out in my favor. So unfortunately, it didn't really work out for me in that regard. I will say that I was looking at who produced it. Bob Ezrin. For those of you who don't know, Bob Ezrin's a huge producer in the 70s and 80s. He produced a lot of Kiss records too. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but the dude has been around. He produced so many, like Aerosmith, Kiss, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, Andrea Bocelli. He did a lot. He's done a lot of work with different bands in the 70s and 80s. So he's he's a really good producer. But him writing some of these songs, I think, I don't know, he's more of a producer than a writer. That's what could have possibly hurt them, in my opinion. I mean, that's just me, but I don't know. So like I'm just gonna just kind of cluster what I'm saying by saying a lot of mixed stuff here. A lot of very cringy. I'm not gonna say cringy lyrics, but just like it's a lot of like, oh, really? You're saying that at the age of like 70 or 85 years old, or however old you are, Alice Cooper. Just a lot of confusion on my part. I've never listened to an Alice Cooper album until now, and I might not listen to one moving forward. But let's just do that way. Yeah, that's just kind of my. I don't really have a standout track. If I can remember any of it, I would. It's just a lot of it was forgettable for me personally, and that's kind of sad because he's an iconic singer-songwriter and an iconic artist. So, but yeah, anyways, that's kind of my overall impression, good and bad, on Alice Cooper's The Revenge of Alice Cooper. So overall, though, I mean, I'll start with my rating on this one, I guess. It's not a bad album. It's not a good album, in my opinion. It's some are very, very middle of the road for me personally. Now, would I love to see this come out? Like, could I see him put this out like in the early 80s? Oh, absolutely. Could I see him, but just coming out like in 2025 with a brand new record out of the blue almost. It's like, it's good. It's just not what I don't know. It's a very middle of the road for me. So in that case regard, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 for me. It's nothing super special, but there's good, and when there's good, and when there's bad, it's very mid. So that's just me. I'm middle of the road, 5 out of 10 for me personally. Mike, what do you got for Alice Cooper's new album?
Yeah, so there are those moments where you listen to an album and you have your songs that you take away and put on a playlist, or you like specifically gravitate towards certain tracks or whatever. For me, this album is, like Kyle kind of said, it's like a roller coaster. It belongs as one thing. You don't divide a roller coaster up into pieces. It belongs as an entire album. It's an up and down. It goes into weird places. It goes into hillbilly outlaw kind of places. It does this. It does that. It narrates a little bit. it tries to teach you a lesson. It feels like a big nostalgic trip to the past. It's got the groovy kind of like chill out music. You're sitting back and with the groovy kind of guitar tones and the bass, and it's all one big trip to the past. And in a lot of ways, it needs to be enjoyed in a way that's like one big piece, one album, one experience, not as like a singular. I'm gonna listen to this track or not. So for me, like I'm 6.5 for me. It's like, is it the greatest thing I've ever listened to? No. Is it an experience that's fun, and would I put it on in the background of a party or something, like maybe like a Halloween kind of around that time, or even just to be like some weird kind of stuff? Sure. Like, it really does have character to it. It does have some cool guitar solos, cool guitar parts in general. Drumming's pretty uninspired, pretty basic. It does need to be brushed up in some certain areas, especially in upbeat kind of areas of like in the middle to early part of the album. I just feel like they just kind of just float along. But other than that, like, it really is a cool kind of album as a whole that you can kind of listen to and get an enjoyment out of. So yeah, 6.5 for me.
And Kyle gave it a 1. I'm just kidding. What do you got?
No, I'm actually interestingly like almost pretty much right in the middle of you guys here. I'm at kind of leaning probably more along the lines of my thoughts wise with Mike on that. Yeah, this is an album that you could throw on and just enjoy the experience for the most part. It's not one that I would go back to many individual songs, pick and choose throughout. It has its moments, both good and bad. I said a 5.75 on it or so if we want to be super specific. Probably could go down maybe to 5.5, but yeah, I mean, that the beginning of this record for me, that's not very enjoyable, but it gets good like toward the middle, it gets up, and towards like the 3/4 mark I really enjoy those songs, and then it just nosedives in the last couple. So good experience. I wouldn't say it's out of the Alice Cooper albums I have listened to, would not put it as my favorite. I think he's done a little bit better. I kind of enjoyed more what he was doing in the 2000s, 2010s or so, when he had more of like a more modern metal sound going, like on the Along Came a Spider album. I like that one quite a bit, but it's not bad. 5.75.
All right. Well, that's our rating and our discussion about Alice Cooper's new album. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our Career Retrospectives podcast right here on the Super Review Show. Now, I'm losing my mind slowly as we talk. Thanks so much for tuning into our podcast, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages as well, simply at the Super Review Show. Mike's going to say something after we get off in a second. I want to thank the two gentlemen for doing this podcast with always. Kyle and Mike, your knowledge goes unmatched. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, bro. All right, and that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. For all of us here at the Super Review Show Retrospectives out there, stay safe, take care, and be awesome.
God bless.
And God bless.